Well, I don't think there's any point belaboring the issue. The question you asked, the answer is quite obvious. I mean, it is a fact that Nigeria is on tenterhooks. The country is indeed hurting, and hurting badly. The system is rapidly spiraling out of control into calamity of monumental proportions, depicting, to all intents and purposes, the reality of a failed state. I mean, this is what you describe as crippling failure. It's a textbook example of crippling failure. In addition to the unprecedented economic challenge that most Nigerians are going through, the fact is the security situation is unspeakable. Communities and individuals are disrupted, and individuals are massacred in groups and without any consequence. Now it has got into a situation in which military, top brass, members of the top brass, military, generals, army generals, high state officials like state commissioners are being slaughtered. And there doesn't seem to be any consequence. It is evident that the situation is indeed getting out of hand, and something has got to be done. I have often said it, that we had enough of this irregular Nibiuriguntente. It is like gambling at the precipice at the edge of the precipice. Something has to give. This is not time for denial. This is not time for those who speak for government to issue the usual incendiary reports that serve, perhaps the only purpose it serves is that it bifurcates the country into two, those they call willers and those they call hailers. But I don't think this is the time for all of that. Enough of this this tendency to self-justify. The country is in crisis, and we have to find a way to deal with this. These times call for leadership. And for me, I have said it often, the fundamental basis of this crisis is the wide dissonance between the society and the state. You have a society that is basically plural in nature, in orientation, highly heterogeneous, with cleavages overlapping and mutually reinforcing. The only institution, the only framework, constitutional framework that is appropriate for such is a federal constitution. You cannot run such a highly plural, heterogeneous republic on the crutches of a unitary constitution that pretends to be federal. That is the crux of the matter. And that is why you have had a high level of exclusivity. And so government must move, especially the leadership of the country. This is the time to step up and be counted to ensure that Nigeria does not go to the dogs. And I have said it repeatedly, there is nothing peculiar about Nigeria that suggests that it cannot fail. A superpower, USSR failed. A superpower with nuclear weapons. Split up into 15 republics. Czechoslovakia divided into 2. We don't want any of that. And so government has to step in and create a basis for dialogue, the type of dialogue that will be all-inclusive, such that every person will be able to come to the table with the basis of their frustration. And then you find a common ground, and you move the country away from this precipice into a situation and a pathway that will lead to stability, inclusivity, and stability and ultimately development. That is the challenge we have. That is what we should focus on. That is what the country is crying for. A situation in which, I repeat, army, military generals are getting killed when the country has not formally declared a war against another state. It calls for action. This is not the time for pretense. Look at what happened in Sokoto. 2 consecutive times, people got into a market and shot people down. People put fire on the bus that was traveling and just bombed people up in a country that has a government, that has law enforcement agencies. We need to look at this, find a way to deal with the problems. Forget all pretenses, forget all self-justification. Let us focus on the issues. Let the president come up to lead from the front as he promised. This is the time to do that. It is not about partisan politicking. It's a question of reality that the country is in danger, existential danger. And it's a scientific thing. If you have a country of this nature and there are certain things the country should do and it is not doing, the consequences are obvious. You cannot stop it. It's not a question of whether you wish it or not. Nobody wants Nigeria to splinter. But the way they are going, They are giving the very extremist forces, the very radical extremist forces, they're giving them the encouragement, and they are popularizing, as it were, those extremist perspectives and ideologies that they traffic in, which are not good for the country. And so my response to that question is that the national leadership of the country, the president, who is the chief executive, and the commander, and he has all constitutional tools that he requires to be able to get Nigeria to get out of this crisis. That was what somebody like de Klerk did in South Africa. He decided to wind down apartheid, and that was what saved that country. It is that type of leadership that the times call for in Nigeria. It is not time to begin to debate whether, look at the beautiful work that the restructuring, the confab did in 2014. Yes, if you argue that was under a PDP government, but recall that APC also set up a committee to look at what the full implication and meaning of restructuring were. And the committee came up virtually the same report. It shows to me that you have something like a bipartisan consensus on the direction in which Nigeria should go. And so my call, my admonition is for the president to rise up to the task and do the needful to ensure that this country does not go to the dogs on his watch. That's my response to that question.